Hey everybody, good afternoon to meteorologist Travis Kleneski. I don't normally do afternoon posts, but I did want to update some things as I've seen a few changes in forecast models that lead me to believe that I needed to change a few things and maybe put a new post out for this afternoon. Here is a look at Futurecast for this afternoon. It's more of the same, just cloudy, maybe a little drizzly in spots. I don't know if we'll see as much drizzle as I was previously thinking though. The chance is still continuing to the evening hours, but then later in the night is when we see the active weather really start to return to the area. So we have a warm front to our south. That's going to lift northward into our area. We're going to see winds turn more southerly once that front comes through. It's going to bring in some warm, moist air, and then showers and thunderstorms will develop and move into our area during the late night hours across central and eastern Nebraska, especially there. So very interesting to see that, as that could be a late night or very early morning affair with some showers and storms. Probably not a big severe weather threat still, but isolated severe weather can't be ruled out. Those will lift out to the northeast, and then the best chances of rain will be in northern Nebraska, maybe a little bit to the south, but northern Nebraska holds the best chance. Basically, what's going to happen is we're going to get a dry punch or a dry slot, basically where that occluded front is. That's the purple line. That's a purple line. The occluded front's basically where the cold front and the warm front meet together. So the air is still pretty decent, if not warm, south of it. So what's going to happen is we're actually going to see some warmer air push in thanks to those strong southerly winds, and we might get some clearing. Recent forecast models are pushing that a little farther north than previously expected. It's not just this one, but many forecast models are. And because of that, that leads me to think that we may actually end up with a pretty decent day tomorrow before things start to change. So we're going to have that front coming northward. Southern areas are going to see a lot of sunshine, temperatures pushing into the 60s, very strong south and southwest winds. And then in the afternoon, I'll back this up a little bit. We are going to see moisture override that front, and so new showers and thunderstorms are going to develop. And this model has it around I-80. Some are a little farther north, some are still a little farther south. It all depends on where that front is tomorrow. But new showers and thunderstorms will override that and develop and lift northward into areas just north of the front where the cooler air is. They won't push far north, but what they're going to do is eventually run into that colder air and eventually change over from rain to snow. Rain and thunderstorms, probably not a big severe weather threat with that though. There's not enough instability for that, but not out of the question either. As for that rain and snow chance, well, you'll notice off to the northwest there, again, transitioning over to snow, but the rain-snow line is staying farther northwest than previously expected, so really only influencing the Sandhills and the Panhandle through most of the afternoon, maybe starting to clip far northern parts of the Local 4 viewing area late in the afternoon. So basically what is happening is a lot more warm air is coming in. It's slowing down the progression of that colder air, which could be good news for more of us because it could mean more of us would miss out on a lot of the snow with this event here. So what's going to happen eventually though is eventually that low pressure system moves through. Colder air will eventually win out through the evening hours. Now again, still seeing snow off to the northwest of the Tri-Cities, and this is at 8 o'clock, so again, may mean a later start time for the snow. But by that point, it is starting to get colder. You can see the strong northerly winds driving that colder air southward. But as we progress later in the night, as previously expected, this moisture is going to diminish a little bit. So by the time we see that change over to snow, we may not see as much around the Tri-Cities area. Still a chance through at least midnight, maybe shortly after, but maybe not as much, and then really diminishing and clearing out after midnight. We'll be left with strong winds, and you can see going back here, look at those arrows out of the north, really coming quickly from north to south. That's going to mean strong wind gusts that could exceed 50 miles per hour. So while it is still snowing, blowing snow is going to be a big problem for those areas that do see snow. Now again, I'm still questioning a little bit if we might see a little bit of snow farther to the south in places like the Tri-Cities. There's still a chance here of seeing a band of snow set up, so it's not out of the question. I know this model doesn't show it, but some still do. But later in the night, everything does diminish, then we're just left with, again, those cold, blustery conditions into our Friday morning. So no big changes since earlier this morning to our winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, and blizzard warnings. They all start tomorrow morning, continue until early Friday morning, expecting the higher totals of snow to the northwest. But again, models are still not completely agreeing. This is my in-house model that I'm going to show you here first off. And again, you saw it already. You saw that it keeps us quiet in the Tri-Cities with snow, but has some much higher amounts to the north and northwest. So I still think far northern and northwest areas are going to get hit with the best chance of snow, and probably looking at 6+ inches in a few locations. But again, some forecast models, even as recent as a few hours ago, are still hinting at a band of snow setting up that may drop a quick 2 to 4 inches in these locations. So it's still not out of the question. It's just the chances are getting lower of that happening here in the Tri-Cities and portions of central Nebraska. So basically, the farther northwest you go, the higher likelihood of seeing snow and maybe heavier amounts of snow. The farther southeast that you go, the lower your chances are of seeing snow and especially heavier amounts of snow, but not completely out of the question. As for severe weather, no big changes. The new update just came out from the Storm Prediction Center for tonight. This is Wednesday night, Thursday morning. It will be after midnight. Still mainly focusing on northeast Kansas for a small chance of some severe weather. I still think that parts of southeast Nebraska, these areas right here, still have a small chance, a very small chance of some severe weather. It's not a great chance. And then tomorrow, and there is actually going to be a new update that comes about 12:30 this morning. Right now, tomorrow, this was updated about 12 hours ago. Right now, it's only the eastern portion of the state under a marginal risk. I could see this possibly being extended back to the west to include more of these areas right here. So maybe a marginal threat across a good chunk of the viewing area for tomorrow afternoon potentially. So not out of the question. It's not a great chance. I still think better chances will be over here to the east, but might have to see. And again, that update comes out at 12:30 or this afternoon. So by the time I'm done recording this, that will be a moot point. So we'll see what happens from there. But as for temperatures now, this is where I've made some big changes to the forecast. So today, not a big change still looking at lower and mid 50s for the most part. Not a dramatic warm up. It's cool out there now. It's not going to warm up a whole lot, especially those areas with the thickest clouds. And then overnight tonight, we really don't drop off much. 40s and 50s for lows. Temps actually try to rise later in the night, so it could be near 60 down towards Beatrice tomorrow morning. Now, this is where the biggest changes are. Again, I talked about that warmer air maybe pushing farther north than previously expected. Many forecast models are now trying to push those temperatures up into the 60s in the Tri-Cities area even, and then to the southeast near 70 there. Still 50s, 40s to the northwest. And then it's also slowing down that colder air moving southeastward. So even by supper time tomorrow, we still might be mild in the Tri-Cities, halting or like slowing the progression of that colder air. Now, eventually, through the evening, colder air is going to quickly dive southward. We'll see a fast drop in temperatures, and you saw it there here. We'll go back a little bit. For instance, watch the Tri-Cities from upper 60s at 6 o'clock down into by 8 o'clock down into the 40s, and then down into the 30s an hour or two later. So this is going to be a very fast drop in temperatures behind that front. And again, by Friday morning, we're talking about teens. I don't know if we'll see all those 20s there. I think it'll be mostly teens, but wind chills will be down near zero, if not colder for some of you, especially up in northern Nebraska. So it'll be a big change by the time you get out the door on Friday morning. Real quick here, if you haven't seen the 3-day forecast and the 7-day forecast, we'll wrap it up with this. Again, we are going to be looking at, I've kind of talked about these next couple of days already. The biggest change is I have bumped up that temperature for Thursday. I'm going to go with mid 60s for now. I'm not quite ready to go upper 60s yet, but I am going to go mid 60s, and then again, we'll transition over to snow during the later evening hours, wrapping up sometime shortly after midnight. Cold, blustery on Friday. The strongest winds will be in the morning, not as much wind later in the day. More sunshine returning. That's the one good thing about Friday. Through the weekend, increasing clouds, small chances of rain on Sunday. I think better chances towards Sunday night. We'll see these off and on chances through Sunday night, Monday night, and Tuesday, but tough right now to predict the timing of those rain chances. They don't look overly heavy at this point. It does look like we will warm up a little bit as we head into early next week, so that'll be nice to see as well. So I didn't want to make this one too long, but there is still a ton to talk about. Thank you for bearing with me. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you all again tomorrow morning to talk about the latest on this upcoming early spring storm. Have a good one, everybody.